Hello everybody, Gilligan Kruger 0829 here, and welcome to day 2 of my X-Men series movie marathon. Today we are talking about the first sequel in the franchise, and that is X-Men 2, X-Men United, or better, just X2, but you get the point. It came out 3 years after the original X-Men in 2003, and got actually quite a lot more praise from both critics and fans alike. It saw the return of director Bryan Singer, as well as the return of several other actors like Patrick Stewart, Hugh Jackman, and Ian McKellen. It also had a lot of new additions that really aided in both the storyline and the characters. But when we look at it, are these additions actually for the better or for the worst? Well, let's dig our claws right into X2. So this one starts with Nightcrawler, a teleporting mutant played by Alan Cumming, who attempts to assassinate the president while in the White House. The other mutants don't even hear about this until they're on a museum field trip and instantly leave back to the mansion to find out what could be going on here. Why would a mutant just attack the president? Magneto is suspected for being involved in it, but he's still in his plastic prison from the last movie, so that's kind of out. But Professor Xavier gets coordinates that where the Nightcrawler might be and sends Storm and Jean to go pick him up. But not before Logan returns from an uneventful, unhelpful visit to Alkali Lake in Canada to find secrets of his past. When he comes back, though, he does meet up with Rogue, and we also meet her boyfriend, Bobby Drake, played by Shawn Ashmore. We can already see between their relationship the problem that Bobby wants to kiss her, hug her, touch her, but he can't because of Rogue's powers, and that is brought up a few more times throughout the movie, but it's not the main issue. Well, Logan goes to see the professor, but not long after, he leaves with Scott for a routine visit to Magneto, and Logan has to babysit the house tonight. But the human world also has a very important part in this story, as the assassination attempt of the president is being analyzed now by Colonel William Stryker, a military scientist played by Brian Cox. He reveals to the president that Magneto has been persuaded by him to give up information about Xavier's school. And Stryker says he's got a harmless inspection of the school he's got planned. Now, we can see through him, but he's not the only one with a nefarious plan. And we've also got Mystique, the shape-shifting mutant from the last movie, who's planning to break Magneto out of his plastic prison. But while doing so, she finds out Stryker's plans to build a new Cerebro, but doesn't find out the location. That night, a group of military officers do go in and attack Xavier's school, but they only manage to capture a couple, and none are killed. However, before Logan leaves with Rogue, Bobby, and their friend John, a pyro, in both his name and his power, played by Aaron Stanford, Logan bumps into Stryker, and Stryker begins to reveal that he was involved in Logan's past. But due to an intervention thanks to Iceman, that's Bobby's superhero name, Logan doesn't find much and he escapes with the 3 kids. Now what follows is essentially kind of like a chase, search, and mystery film with all the characters trying to meet up and figure out what's going on while fighting an actual human villain this time. So, there have been 4 X-Men movies, live-action movies up to now, and this one is easily my favorite. I think it balances everything out perfectly. Remember how I said the first movie really cared about its characters, but not so much about the story? Well, this one really feels like it balances both out. And the ironic thing is, while I feel like the characters are more strongly developed, I really think the story is done better. Well, like, an example of this is, there's one scene I really like right before the military attack where Logan and Bobby sit down to just discuss their issues and problems and their backstories. And I really think this was a well-directed, well-written scene. I love the dialogue and emotion that Ashmore and Jackman put into it. I really think it's well done, and it's actually one of my favorite scenes in the series, just because we realize that these mutants are humans in thought and process, just like us. And that's the real thing I think Stan Lee and all the people who originally created the X-Men wanted to point out. I like a lot of the new characters, particularly Nightcrawler and Stryker. I like Nightcrawler as this kind of stealthy character, like a ninja that can teleport, and he has one of the coolest scenes in the movie at the beginning, one of the coolest superhero scenes I've ever seen in a movie. And Stryker, I really think, is good because he's such a different villain from Magneto in the first place. He is prejudiced against mutants, but he manages to hide that from everyone else. We can pretty much figure it out, but he's got this persuasive tone to him that's really well done. I really comment and praise Brian Cox's performance for it. And the action scenes are pretty cool too. The three in particular, one at the aforementioned Nightcrawler White House attack in the beginning. Two is when John, or Pyro, has a firefight, literally, between him and the police. And the third is where Wolverine fights a woman called Deathstrike, who has the exact same powers and claws as him. And she's played by Kelly Hu, and it's a very cool scene. But how's the story, you're asking? Well, the story is dark, entertaining, and very, very fluid. The new addition here is it actually goes into Logan's past, and this one actually kind of breaks us down to what we only thought of in the first one. Like, I viewed the first one, the key mutant was Rogue, but this one, it's Wolverine, no doubt. In fact, all three of these movies, I think, have a key mutant, but this one definitely focuses on Wolverine, and it still leaves a lot open, and I think they got just the right mix of it in there. But of course, the big thing that makes these movies so interesting is how they deal with prejudice and politics, and in this case, almost genocide, because I was really excited or interested. I'm not saying I favor prejudice or genocide or anything. I'm sorry, let me get that off of my chest, but I think the way it's done here with the mutants is very captivating and very exciting. You really relate to the characters because of this. You relate to it as a whole because it's so down to earth, and how all the characters play into it. The fact is, impressive action sequences, very well written story and characters, and a good view on politics and prejudice all make this an incredible film. And it was my favorite superhero movie until, as I think I've brought this up, the Christopher Nolan Batman movies came up. Just the first one, of course, 2 years later with Batman Begins, but X-Men 2 is definitely still up there. Now, while I can't really think of anything that really brings the movie down, I don't know, I just can't find myself giving this a full 5th star, because it's really entertaining, but I just didn't think it was absolutely perfect. Still, though, it's an amazing superhero movie. I recommend this to anyone who likes action movies. Even if you didn't like the first X-Men movie, I think you'd enjoy this because it's high-powered, it's dark, it basically does everything you'd want from a movie of this kind. And yes, I do, in fact, this is one of those rare sequels that is better than the original. And I definitely stand by that. I still think it's my favorite easily, and again, I wouldn't say anything bad about this ever. I really enjoyed it. So I'm going to give X2 4.5 stars out of 5. You can find all my movie reviews on my YouTube channel. If you have a movie you'd like me to review, comment on this video or on my channel. And until next time, peace. Cha!